All right, traders, good afternoon. Welcome on back here. This is Monday, March 4th. Great to see all of our members just joining us inside our live trading room. You got Brian just still with us here. I saw Michael just a moment ago. Ended up seeing Steve, Bob, Michael, had John, Patrick, Luis, Brad, and all of our students and members just joining us there. Hey, great to have you. And you know what? We have to actually move pretty quick because we have the phase 2 classes actually continuing up this afternoon. But great to see all of our students there. And if you're just joining us back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, X, whatever social media platform you may be on, that namely is at Cyber Trading U on the lower left. There we go, popping up right now. So, hey, if you're not followed or caught up to speed, subscribe to any of our social media platforms, search for at Cyber Trading U. And then from there, just, that's your best shot of knowing when we're going live, when we're not. Of course, join us inside our live trading room each and every day, though, to get the full rendition. Now, I was talking to one of my students, Brian, just before in chat, on the side, and we're looking for a bounce on CLSK. So I was in this just a moment ago. I was in it short throughout my morning and then heading into this part of the afternoon. I took a smaller short off of 1622. Bit of a ladder popped up on the ask. Not on the bid, but on the ask. And that's what led to the drop down lower to 16. And then from there, just took its time. So before this meeting started, I just wanted to make sure I was out of any and all trades here. And you can see on the bottom right as I pull up, I'm flat right now. It's been a really good day so far. I don't like trading while I'm doing these meetings, really. I don't like trading, especially while I'm in class later on at 3:05. So, there might be a trade I take coming up and I'll just get in and out of quick. But CLSK started to move up a little bit without me. I know that Brian W., our student right now, is doing pretty good on it here. Namely broke under and over 16. But just before, it was like flattening out here for a bit, flattening out. I thought it was going to make the move sooner, so I took a chance. And you know what? It could have worked out, but if I just waited a little bit longer, maybe I wouldn't have been so emotionally tied to the impatience there, and I would have taken it under and over when I should have, and I'd be in this trade now. But either way, we're going to put this on our watch list heading into the afternoon. It's still easy to borrow from me on TradeStation. Hell, if this keeps pulling back here and testing support, then I'd like to think there's a good chance that we'll see a lower low. But you know what? A lot of these crypto mining stocks that we trade and call out, especially if you're Leda, Michael, Phil, Brian, inside our live trading room now, any of our students that have been with us really from the last cycle of Bitcoin and all that. Anytime Mara or Riot, Coinbase, CLSK, these stocks, anytime that they're at the high of the day, they normally don't continue up. Well, I'll tell you what, that actually is pretty meaningful here because the same is to be said on the way down. That's where with this down 9-10%, maybe we do get that squeeze up heading into the afternoon. That's what I was just focused on there with Brian before. And, even though I'm not in it now, it's still off to a good start from 16. So see if this can keep pushing. Yeah, you know what? There's a little discrepancy in Bitcoin movement versus the miners right now. I was talking to Brian about that also on the side. I actually have a question from one of our students for Traders Talk tomorrow, Luis. So, for any one of us right now, Luis, Michael, Brian, if you have any questions about stocks, namely, we tend to trade each and every day. We do our live workshop tomorrow, but also on top, if you want to send over any Bitcoin, crypto affiliated questions, I tried having a little conversation with us earlier here, just kind of asking, hey, do you tend to follow crypto? Do you tend to follow Bitcoin at all? And you could actually pull up the alerts or the scroll up on the alert section there and see the results. I just posted it there on the top right for you. It looks like most of us at least have some formal interest in it, whether it's Bitcoin only or the smaller altcoins included. And even if not the crypto, maybe it's just the stocks like CLSK, like Mara, like Coinbase, right? So, I was just trying to engage in that earlier. But, for Traders Talk tomorrow, let me know if you have any questions at all. But yeah, CLSK will add, let me just rip through the other ones actually. Coinbase. This one's actually really strong, moving a lot better with BTC, Bitcoin, that is, as a whole, up 12.5 or up 12.5+% now. You know what? I could add Coinbase too. If CLSK bounces, then maybe there is a case where this one at least tries to make that more rare continuated move into the close. But, let's see what happens there. What else? We got Riot. We don't need to add them all. I'm only really just adding the ones that we're calling out. So Coinbase, because it's more well known and actually at the highs. I could probably slip Mara on our list too. Those are the main three. I'd say Coinbase, Mara, and then the CLSK trade. Perhaps rising tide lifts all boats here, and we get a stronger, move up all together here collectively into the close. All right, but don't hope for that though. At least don't just hold your breath waiting for that. I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges here, but really quickly as we go from top to bottom here right now, don't hold your breath waiting for PHUN to try and make a higher high. Right, we were looking for that earlier here, and rightfully so, with higher lows. But it ended up failing here, and it came back down, and we needed to see 15 hold as support. It broke below that. It pulled back to the VWAP price. It tried from there, and then it snapped lower. So you don't want to keep just lowering your bounce level, your support level, because there's honestly going to be other trades that look much stronger than this at this point. So that's where I just say, even for the crypto stock, same thing. But certainly for PHUN, we're going to move away from this trade for right now. Go from top to bottom here. Fufu, F-U-F-U, and pardon my French there. I'm not cursing at anyone there. I'm not telling anyone to, what off. So with that said, BitFuFu Inc. I guess they're a new crypto stock. It's got a really thin order book here. If you look at level 3 and level 4, it's just very thin, paper thin, in fact. So I'm going to pass on that one, really. Now, this is not a crypto stock, but we don't need crypto there for us. This is just Ocean Biomedical. It's a cheap stock, but although it does have a little spread right now, it's got like a 2, 3, 4 cent spread even. It does have decent order size. So I like that here for the meantime here. The OCEA I'll add back to our list, trending back up for right now. Pretty close to the highs and close to that major resistance at $4. All right, long day on the stick there. I just refilled up right before this meeting. Joseph, our trial member here, saying CLSK showed classic W pattern. Perhaps. I mean, hey, what we call under and over, right? It's kind of like a W. It's like a V, a W, a U, under and over, right? So ended up breaking under 16, over 16, and that's namely what we look for when it comes to trying to anticipate support to not just build, but get that reaction that you'd want. So pretty good start here so far in CLSK. All right, so going back to the gainers list, at least we got OCEA on there too. So honestly, we got a great list already. We don't really need to build too big of a list when we have 4 pretty volatile stocks already there. And I say volatile in a good way, complimentary way. Volatile is not always like too fast, too crazy. It might just be crazy enough for us. COCH, this is a little too crazy. I say that because of the order book. Big spread, paper thin out there, really no one real out there, as I like to now say. This one already tried. Pass on this, the LVTX. Ooh, BBAI trying to push again. Look at this. Making higher lows still, even when it last shook down. I thought it was going to break lower and surprised me here. So, yeah, nice to run into it now. BBAI, the AI trades we'll just take a look at. I made some good money on the SOUN just before off of 550, broke under, then back over 550, pretty similar to like CLSK at 16 just before. So, this was a great trade right from that level. And with that said, I could add SOUN on there too. Honestly, I mean, it's not bad. It's from our side list. Day to day, we tend to follow the stock. Don't be surprised, though, if you keep seeing lower highs on the daily chart and with that lower low. But, that'll be tomorrow's worry, or maybe even this afternoon's worry. But for now, higher lows still off of that 550. BBAI looking pretty good. I was really focused on AI this one here actually just before. I didn't call it out in the chat. Hey, I shoot straight. I tell you what the deal is here, folks. Like I would tell you, I called it. I didn't call it out because for a more expensive stock, I didn't really know if it was going to make that larger $2-3 bounce, like get all the way back up to 37, 38. So I was looking at it for a moment and it just wasn't going anywhere. So I pulled the trigger, just took a small profit, like barely. It was like a break even basically, because it's on small shares anyways, a $35 stock, but it's not going anywhere. So the other two, the BBAI, the SOUN, I'm going to put those on our main list. SMCI obviously is Fausto's swing. I'm going to add that to our list, but kind of separate that because, namely, as a swing trade, it's very expensive, mind you, but it's one that we've been following for a long time now, and he's been head on really since the initial breakout of this trade. Like a month back at this point? Like a month and a half back at this point. So breaking new highs here at this stage, and we'll add the SMCI kind of just as a swing trade there for Fausto. MSTR too, you could probably put on that list. This is like as much of a Bitcoin stock as you can find. Maybe I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But again, this is also something to keep in mind as a swing trade, at least MSTR. Macy's too flat. All right, see if there's anything else looking good from the gainers list. Actually, number 50 is up 13%. So there's a bunch of these like Bitcoin ETFs littered throughout this gainer side. Again, we're not going to trade them, not going to really focus on all of those. But if there's really anything else kind of moving on its own right now, folks, for Michael, for Phil, for Leda, Luis, Jeff, Joe, any of us in the chat right now, definitely just type it in the chat right now. And so we work together as a team, right? That's pretty much all I got. RNLX, lower highs here from my side, and that's it. All right, so we'll hop over to the losers list, see if there's anything, I mean, maybe dropping off on its own, being a good short, maybe a dead cat bounce if it's down enough. This ain't going anywhere. This ain't going anywhere. All right, NYCB down 17 to 18%. This is going somewhere. Looks like it's going to the ground floor. Yeah, I mean, it is shortable, right? It's not down enough percentage-wise today for me to look for a dead cat bounce, but when I say today, let's factor in from, like, the end of January. This stock was $10, $11. So as much as I say, yes, it can easily keep dropping lower, and that's the initial direction I would assume on this trade. Let's think about what happens if it fails to do that. It could be in line for a dead cat bounce. I don't mind kinda slipping this towards the back end of our watch list here for the meantime, as a day trade. Kodiak, KODK, what goes up comes back down. This actually was easy to borrow. I didn't notice that up until like maybe like 1 p.m. I didn't even call it out in chat, but at that point it's already too flat. You got Lee dropped off earlier. The Chinese EV company's been taking a hit. Neo, XPEV, Lee all big, down big today. G3, LU. I'll tell you, that's pretty much it, folks. I mean, TSLL dropped off pretty nicely earlier today. So obviously Tesla stock down quite a bit right now. Let's see, the markets are popping. Actually just blasted a new high right now, the SPY. So I don't know if there's any news that just came out recently right now, just before I jumped on. I'm actually just checking from my cell phone here, believe it or not, really quick. So yeah, there was no news from like the economic calendar or reports heading out into this week. There was something that came out at 12 p.m. Fed speaker or Fed President Tom Harper speaks. That's it. But obviously something had to have happened. The ceiling just got blown right through on SPY. So pretty interesting. Tesla down big right now. Maybe that could lead to a dead cat bounce. So with that said, I can maybe slip both like Tesla and TSLL here. I'd focus more on the TSLL if you're going to look for that dead cat bounce, that squeeze up heading into the afternoon. This is cheap. It's got a good order book too. It's an ETF though. It's just that this really follows Tesla. It's a single stock ETF. All right, so I'll tell you, we got a really good watch list at this point. I told you we didn't really need to build up a big watch list, but I think that we're kind of maxing out at this stage. We got 2, 4, 6, 8. Technically got 10 stocks on there. We got 9 as like a day trade. That SMCI from Fausto as a swing trade there. MSTR also. So last call. Let me know if there's anything else, folks, just before we finish up. Check out Benzinga Pro quickly here. I'll show you that. Let's see. All right, what else we got here? Let's see from Benzinga Pro. Nothing really sticking out on my 5-minute scanner. 1-minute scanner, not really much happening there. So I'll tell you, I think that we're going to call it. I like what we got here for the meantime. Michael's saying CLSK up 50 cents. There we go. So let me ask, did anyone jump in on that trade with Brian from 16? I was just mentioning that like as I started the meeting. So, we made the call out really right before the meeting started. That's like directly in chat. I said if it breaks under 16, be careful of a complete break. So it broke under, but thankfully moved back up. It afforded the chance of a break over. And from there, right? Just reposting a couple things in the chat right now for our students like Kathleen and John right there. Kind of namely saying I was short on CLSK down to 16 for support. So, decent trade there, decent trade on Coin and, Mara too, the other crypto stocks we're going to put on there. All right, folks. Hey, really quick traders talk we got tomorrow. That's our weekly workshop. So we'll be hosting that simulcast inside our live trading room. That you get the full rendition there, and also though just on social media on YouTube. So feel free to join us there as well. But if you want to get the full rendition, just scan that QR code on the top left of the stream. Just if you're joining us on YouTube right now, if you have any questions on top that you'd want to send over for our workshop, it's a Q&A edition that we do every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern. Feel free to shoot me over a quick email, folks. Josh@ctutrading.com. That's my email address. I wrote that earlier to Luis and Joe and Jeff and all of our students there. But if you're on social media too, YouTube as well, Josh@ctutrading.com is my email. Any questions that you got for me there, definitely let me know. All right, folks. But otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing all of our students there. Any of our gold students, diamond, and platinum students of CTU joining us in the Phase 2 stock course coming up later today. Lita, Michael, Phil, and a lot of us just joining us there actually coming up. I look forward to seeing you all. Take care.